Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Ivan Jue. I teach international business at Cerritos College. This chapter focuses on a critical question for multinational companies. How should a firm evaluate foreign markets and choose the best way to enter them? This chapter is important because even if a company has a great product and a strong international strategy, it still must decide which countries to enter, when to enter them, how much investment to make, which entry mode to use, how to manage risk, and factor poor market entry decisions that can be very costly. So let's begin. This slide introduces the objectives for this chapter. It focuses on how companies evaluate foreign opportunities and choose the best market entry methods. Discuss how firms analyze foreign markets. Before entering another country, firms must determine whether the market is attractive and profitable. Factors that the firms evaluate include the market size and growth potential, economic conditions, political and legal stability, cultural differences, competitive environment, and the infrastructure and logistics. Outline the process by which firms choose their mode of entry. So once a company selects a country, it must decide how to enter the market. Here are the common entry modes: exporting, licensing, franchising, strategic alliances, joint ventures, and wholly owned subsidiaries, or FDI. The factors affecting the choice: cost, risk, degree of control desired, speed of market entry, and local regulations. Describe forms of exporting and export intermediaries. Exporting is often the easiest and least risky way to enter foreign markets. The types of exporting include indirect exporting, using intermediaries, direct exporting. The company sells directly to foreign buyers, and so this allows more control but requires greater expertise. Export intermediaries include export management companies, or EMCs, export trading companies, or ETCs, freight forwarders, and customs brokers. Identify issues in international licensing. So what is licensing? A company grants another company the right to use its technology, produce its products, use patents, trademarks, or intellectual property, and in exchange, the licensor receives royalties or fees. The advantages would include low investment, fast market entry, and low political risk. So this is useful when local regulations restrict foreign ownership. The disadvantages, however, are less control, the quality may vary, potential loss of technology or intellectual property, and the future competitors may emerge. This continues the learning objectives of this chapter and focuses on different ways companies can enter international markets and invest abroad. International franchising. So franchising occurs when a company, the franchisor, allows another party, the franchisee, to use its brand name, business model, products, and operating procedures. And in exchange, they do this for fees and royalties. The advantages would be rapid expansion with less capital investment, local franchisee understands the local market, and lower financial risk. However, the disadvantages would include less control over operations, quality problems that can damage the brand, and potential conflicts with franchisees. Specialized entry modes. This objective introduces three special ways that firms enter foreign markets. A. Contract manufacturing. A company hires a foreign manufacturer to produce its products. The advantages would be lower production costs and no need to build factories, but the disadvantages would be less control over production quality and potential loss of proprietary knowledge. B. Management contracts. A company provides management expertise while another company owns the facility. So the advantages would be generating revenue without large investment and low financial risk. But the disadvantage would be limited control over ownership decisions. C. Turnkey projects. A company designs, builds, and equips a facility, then hands it over to the customer. The advantages would be large one-time profits. This is useful in developing economies, but the disadvantage would be it creates a potential future competitor and limited long-term involvement. So, foreign direct investment, FDI. What is FDI? FDI occurs when a company directly invests in facilities or operations in another country. Examples include building a factory, opening a subsidiary, and acquiring a foreign company. Greenfield investment. A company builds a completely new operation from scratch. Greenfield means starting on undeveloped land. Advantages of this would include full control, customized facilities, modern technology, but the disadvantages would be this is really expensive, time consuming, and has a higher startup risk. Acquisition. A company purchases an existing foreign business. Advantages would be fast market entry, existing customer and employees, immediate operations, but the disadvantages would be integration challenges, cultural conflicts, and potential overpayment. So this introduces the three-step process that companies use to identify and choose foreign markets for international expansion. This would be assessment, evaluation, and selection. The idea is simple. Before entering a foreign country, a firm must first understand the market, compare alternatives, and then choose the best opportunity. So number one, assessment. Assessment is the initial screening process used to identify potentially attractive foreign markets. Managers gather information about countries and ask, how large is the market? Is the economy growing? Is the political environment stable? Are there cultural barriers? Is there sufficient customer demand? Number two, evaluation. So after narrowing the list, managers conduct a deeper analysis of promising countries. The factors examined would include market factors, customer demand, market growth rate, competition. There's financial factors. This would be expected profits, investment requirements, exchange rate risk. Political factors. This could include government regulations, trade restrictions, tax policies. And then cultural factors, consumer preferences, language differences, and business practices. Number three, selection. Selection is the final decision regarding which country to enter, when to enter, how to enter. The company chooses the market offering with the best balance of opportunity, profitability, and risk. So why does this process matter? Entering the wrong country can result in financial losses, regulatory problems, cultural misunderstandings, and competitive disadvantages. A systemic market analysis helps firms reduce risk, allocate resources efficiently, improve profitability, and increase chances of long-term success. So this provides a checklist of questions that managers should ask when evaluating a new foreign market. It focuses on two critical areas: market potential and levels of competition. The purpose is to help firms determine, is this market attractive enough to enter and can we compete successfully there? So number one, market potential. Market potential measures the size, growth, and attractiveness of a market. Key questions would be, how large is the market today? Managers want to know current sales volume, number of potential customers, and total market value. How fast is the market growing? A small market today may become very attractive if it is growing rapidly. Which product segments will expand or contract? Not all parts of a market grow equally. As an example, in the auto industry, EVs may be growing, gas-powered vehicles may be declining. Companies must identify where future demand will be. Which segments should we target? A firm must choose where it can compete effectively. So examples are a luxury market, budget market, commercial customers, consumer customers. Toyota and Mazda may target different customer groups even within the same country. What are the key drivers of success? Managers identify factors that determine success in that market. Examples would be low cost, brand reputation, technology, distribution network, and customer service. Do these drivers match our capabilities? A market may be attractive, but the company must have the skills needed to succeed. What future changes are expected? Managers must think ahead. Examples would be new regulations, demographic changes, technological advances, and consumer trends. Number 2, levels of competition. So after assessing the market attractiveness, firms evaluate competitors. What are competitors' strengths and weaknesses? Managers study competitors' advantages and vulnerabilities. Who is gaining market share? This reveals which companies are winning and why. How do our capabilities compare? A company must honestly evaluate itself. Is the industry concentrated? A concentrated industry is dominated by a few large firms. Highly concentrated markets may be difficult to enter. Are foreign firms already successful? This is an important signal. If foreign companies are already thriving, it suggests the market is open. Customers accept foreign brands. Regulations may be manageable. What are the distribution channels? Managers ask, how do products reach customers? Through retailers, distributors, or online platforms? Will these channels be available to us? Access to distribution often determines success. A great product may fail if customers cannot easily buy it. Are other firms planning to enter? Future competition matters too. Managers evaluate potential new entrants, industry trends, and emerging competitors. This continues the framework for evaluating foreign markets. After examining market potential and competition from the previous slide, managers must also analyze legal and political environment, socio-cultural influences. These factors often determine whether a market is attractive, risky, or even accessible. Number 1, legal and political environment. This section asks, can we safely and profitably do business in this country? Even a large and fast-growing market may be unattractive if political or legal risks are too high. Does the government welcome foreign investment? Some countries actively encourage foreign companies through tax incentives, grants, reduced regulations. Others, however, restrict foreign ownership. Are there trade barriers? Trade barriers increase the cost of entering a market. Examples would be tariffs, import quotas, and local content requirements. Does the government favor local firms? Governments may provide advantages to domestic companies through subsidies, government contracts, regulatory preferences. Foreign firms must then determine whether they can compete on equal terms. Are political and business elites closely connected? In some countries, success may depend on heavily close relationships with government officials. This can create barriers for foreign entrants. Is corruption common? High corruption can increase business costs, legal risks, operational uncertainty, so companies often avoid markets where bribery is widespread. How reliable is the rule of law? Businesses need confidence that contracts will be enforced, courts are fair, property rights are protected. Without legal certainty, investment becomes risky. How strong is intellectual property protection? This is critical for companies with patents, software, brands, proprietary technology. Are there political conflicts between countries? Political tensions can affect trade, tariffs, sanctions, and public sentiment. Number 2, socio-cultural influences. So this section asks, will our product and business model fit the local culture and society? Even excellent products can fail if they do not match local preferences. Is our product compatible with local culture? Consumer habits vary across countries. How different is this market from others? The more different a country is from existing markets, the greater the adaptation required. Managers must consider language, religion, and values, as well as consumer behavior. What motivates workers? Labor management practices vary significantly per country. Do consumers seek foreign brands? In some markets, foreign brands are viewed as premium products. In others, consumers strongly prefer local brands. How educated is the population? Education affects workforce quality, trading costs, and consumer sophistication. Is the population young or old, urban or rural? Demographics strongly influence demand. Examples: young populations may drive demand for technology and entertainment. Aging populations have increased demand for healthcare products. Do demographic trends favor our product? Managers must look at future population trends. So this summarizes the assessment stage of foreign market analysis. Before a company enters a country, it must systematically compare different markets using 4 major criteria. Market potential, levels of competition, legal and political environment, socio-cultural influences. Think of this stage as answering the question, which foreign market offers the best opportunity with the lowest acceptable risk? So number 1, market potential. Managers first determine whether there is sufficient demand for their products. The questions include, how large is the market? How fast is it growing? Which customer segments are expanding? Is there long-term opportunity? Number 2, levels of competition. So even a large market may not be attractive if competition is overwhelming. Managers evaluate number of competitors, market leaders, competitive advantages, distribution channels, and potential new entrants. Number 3, legal and political environment. Companies must understand the risks created by government policies and regulations. The key considerations are foreign investment restrictions, tariffs and trade barriers, political stability, corruption levels, intellectual property protection, and tax regulations. As an example, many multinational companies prefer countries with stable governments, predictable regulations, and strong legal protections. Because really, uncertainty increases business risk. Number 4, social cultural influences. Products and business practices must fit local culture. Managers examine consumer preferences, language differences, and workforce characteristics. This slide focuses on the cost side of entering a foreign market. Before expanding internationally, a company must carefully estimate not only the obvious expenses, but also the opportunities it may be giving up. There are two main types of costs. Number one, direct costs. These are the actual measurable expenses required to enter and operate in a foreign market. Examples include building a factory or office, hiring employees, and marketing and advertising. Number two, opportunity costs. Opportunity costs represent the value of the best alternative that is not chosen. A key question is, what are we giving up by choosing this market instead of another option? Opportunity costs are often harder to measure but are just as important as direct costs. Examples would be investing in Brazil instead of India, spending resources on international expansion instead of developing a new product. Why do both matter? A market may appear attractive because direct costs are low, but the opportunity costs may be high. As an example, a company spends $2 million to enter country A as a low direct cost, but country B could have generated twice the revenue. In that case, choosing country A may not be the best strategic decision despite its lower cost. So this explains the potential benefits a company may gain by entering a foreign market. When evaluating international expansion, managers compare these benefits against the costs and risk before making a decision. Number one, sales and profits. The most obvious benefit is the opportunity to generate additional revenue and profits. Why? Access to new customers, increased market size, higher sales volume, and diversified revenue sources. Number two, lower costs. Foreign expansion can help reduce operating costs. Possible cost savings include lower labor costs, lower manufacturing costs, lower raw material costs, tax advantages, and economies of scale. Number three, foreclosing of markets. This means entering a market before competitors do and securing a strong position. The benefits include building customer loyalty early, establishing distribution channels, securing suppliers and partners, and creating barriers for entry for the competitors. An example would be Coca-Cola and McDonald's entered many emerging markets early, making it harder for later competitors to gain significant market share. Number four, competitive advantage. International expansion can strengthen a firm's overall competitive position. Advantages may include greater global brand recognition, access to larger resources, better economies of scale, increased bargaining power. A great example is Amazon's global presence, allowing it to spread technology and logistics investments across multiple countries, creating advantages over smaller competitors. Number five, new technology. Foreign markets can provide access to new innovations, advanced manufacturing techniques, skilled talent, and research and development capabilities. And number six, synergy. Synergy occurs when the combined value of different operations is greater than the value of each operation separately. The benefits include shared technology, shared marketing resources, and shared distribution networks. This allows for knowledge transfer across countries. This slide highlights the major risks companies face when entering a foreign market. Even when a market offers attractive profits and growth opportunities, firms must carefully evaluate these risks before investing. Number one, exchange rate fluctuations. Foreign companies often earn revenue in one currency and report profits in another. Changes in exchange rates can reduce profits, increase costs, and create uncertainty in cash flows. Number two, operating complexity. managing international operations is much more complicated than operating in one country. The challenges include different laws and regulations, multiple tax systems, language barriers, cultural differences, different labor practices, and time zone differences. Number 3, direct financial losses. Companies may lose money if their international expansion does not succeed. Possible causes would include poor market demand, strong competition, high startup costs, failed acquisitions, and incorrect market forecasts. Number 4, political risks. Political actions by governments can negatively affect business operations. Examples include changes in tax laws, new tariffs, import restrictions, nationalization of assets, cultural controls, political instability, and war or civil unrest. So this slide shows the process companies use to decide how to enter a foreign market. After selecting a country, a firm must choose the most appropriate entry mode, the method it will use to do business there. So step 1, evaluate key decision factors. Before choosing an entry mode, managers consider several factors. Number 1, ownership advantages. What unique strengths does the company possess? Number 2, location advantages. What makes the foreign country attractive? Number 3, internalization advantages. Should the company keep activities under its own control or allow another company to perform them? Number 4, other considerations. The need for control, available financial resources, and overall global strategy. Available entry modes. These are 5 major ways to enter a foreign market. Number 1, exporting. The company produces goods in its home country and sells them abroad. The types of this include indirect exporting through intermediaries, as well as direct exporting, selling directly to foreign buyers. Then there's intra-corporate transfers. This is between company subsidiaries. The advantages would include low investment and low risk. However, the disadvantages would be tariffs and shipping costs, as well as less control over foreign markets. Number 2, international licensing. The company allows a foreign firm to use patents, trademarks, and technology in exchange for royalty payments. Advantages would be low cost and fast market entry, but disadvantages would be loss of control and risk of creating future competitors. Number 3, international franchising. The company licenses an entire business system. Examples would be McDonald's, Subway, and Hilton Hotels. The franchisee allows strict operating procedures. Advantages would include rapid expansion and limited capital investment, but the disadvantage is quality control has a challenge. Number 4, specialized entry modes. These include contract manufacturing. This is where a local company manufactures products for the foreign firm. Management contracts. The company provides management expertise without owning facilities. Turnkey projects. The company builds and delivers a fully operational facility. Advantages include lower investment and access to local expertise, but the disadvantage would be less control. Number 5, foreign direct investment, or FDI. The company invests directly in the foreign country. The methods include greenfield strategy, which is building a new operation from scratch, acquisition strategy, which is purchasing an existing company, and then joint venture, partner with a local firm. So advantages of that would be the highest amount of control, better protection of technology, and long-term commitment, but the disadvantage would be the highest amount of cost and the highest risk. This focuses on the key decision factors that influence how a company enters a foreign market. These factors come from Dunning's eclectic or OLI theory, which helps explain why firms choose exporting, licensing, joint ventures, or foreign direct investment, or FDI. Number 1, the ownership advantages. The question would be, what unique assets or strengths does the company possess? These are the advantages that competitors may not easily copy. So, for example, a strong brand name, patents and intellectual property, proprietary technology, managerial expertise, customer relationships, and specialized know-how. Number 2, location advantages. So the question here is, why should the company operate in this country instead of another? The factors include market advantages. So this would be large customer base and fast-growing economy. Cost advantages, lower cost labor, lower production costs. Resource advantages, skilled workforce and natural resources. Government advantages, tax incentives and investment subsidies. As an example, many technology firms established operations in India because of a large talent pool and lower labor costs, as well as strong engineering workforce. Number 3, internalization advantages. The question here would be, should the company perform activities itself or allow another company to do them? Internalization focuses on protecting technology and maintaining quality, as well as controlling customer experience and protecting intellectual property. As an example, McDonald's closely controls operations worldwide to ensure consistent food quality and consistent customer experience. Another factor is the slide showing additional considerations. So let's mention a few. A, the need for control. How much control does management want? Higher control would be FDI, wholly owned subsidiaries. But this allows lower control, licensing, and franchising. B, resource availability. How much money and expertise does the company have? Small firms may choose exporting, licensing, while the large firms may choose acquisitions and greenfield investments. Global strategy. How does the foreign market fit into the company's long-term plan? Examples would be regional expansion, global market leadership, and supply chain optimization. This slide explains the advantages and disadvantages of exporting, which is often the first and simplest way for companies to enter international markets. Exporting means producing goods or services in one country and selling them to customers in another country. The advantages of exporting. Number 1, relatively low financial exposure. Exporting requires less investment than opening a foreign subsidiary or factory. The company does not need to build facilities overseas, hire large local workforces, or purchase foreign assets. The benefit is lower risk and lower startup costs. Number 2, this also permits gradual market entry. Companies can test the waters before making a major investment. They can start with small sales volumes, measure customer demand, learn about competitors. So the benefit is this allows cautious expansion. Number 3, acquire knowledge about the local market. Exporting helps firms learn customer preferences, pricing expectations, distribution channels, and regulatory requirements. The benefit is valuable information for future expansion. Number 4, avoid restrictions on foreign investment. Some countries limit foreign ownership or foreign direct investment. Exporting allows firms to sell products there without investing locally. So the benefit here is access to the market without dealing with investment restrictions. There are disadvantages to exporting. Let's go through these. Number one, the vulnerability for tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Governments may make imported products more expensive or difficult to sell. Examples are tariffs, import taxes, non-tariff barriers, which include product standards, licensing requirements, and import quotas, customs procedures. The risk would be higher costs and lower competitiveness. Number two, logistical complexities. Selling internationally creates transportation and supply chain challenges. Examples are shipping delays, customs clearances, inventory management, international documentation, and currency issues. So the risk is increased operational complexity. Number three, potential conflicts with distributors. Many exporters rely on local distributors or agents. Problems may occur when distributors prioritize competing products, sales goals are not met, marketing strategies differ, pricing disagreements arise. So the risk would be reduced control over customer relationships. This slide explains why companies decide to export, focusing on two categories of motivations. Proactive motivations. The company actively seeks international opportunities. Reactive motivations. The company responds to external pressures or circumstances. So number one, proactive motivations. These are strategic, opportunity-driven reasons for entering foreign markets. The company chooses to export because it sees potential benefits. There are several common proactive motivations. One of them is increased sales and profits. Domestic markets may be saturated while foreign markets offer growth opportunities. Achieving economies of scale. Higher production volumes can reduce per unit costs. An example would be a software company can spread development costs across more international customers. Exploiting competitive advantages. A company may possess superior technology, strong brand recognition, unique products, patents that can succeed internationally. As an example, Tesla leverages its EV technology globally. Another is gain first mover advantage. So entering a market early can establish brand loyalty before competitors arrive. An example would be Netflix expanding internationally before many local streaming competitors emerged. Diversifying revenue sources. Selling in multiple countries reduces dependence on one economy. So as an example, if US sales slow, European or Asian sales may offset the decline. Number two, reactive motivations. These occur when firms export because they feel pressure to do so. Rather than seeking opportunities, they are responding to circumstances. So here are the common reactive motivations. The first is excess production capacity. The company may have unused factory capacity and wants additional sales. As an example, a manufacturer producing 100,000 units but selling only 70,000 domestically may export the extra 30,000 units. Declining domestic demand. Sales at home may be slowing. So as an example, a company facing a shrinking US market looks overseas for new customers. Competitive pressure. Competitors have expanded internationally and gained an advantage. So, as an example, if competitors begin selling in Latin America, a firm may follow to avoid losing market share there. Unsolicited foreign orders. Foreign customers contact the company directly. Seasonal demand differences. Demand may occur at different times across countries. So as an example, a company selling winter clothing can still sell in the southern hemisphere when it is summer in the northern hemisphere. This diagram explains indirect exporting, one of the simplest ways for a company to enter foreign markets. So what is happening? Company A manufactures a product in country 1, the United States in the diagram. Instead of selling directly to customers overseas, Company A sells the product to Company B, a domestic intermediary or export company. Company B then exports the product and sells it to Company C, the customer or distributor in country 2, Europe in the diagram. So why is it called indirect exporting? Company A does not deal directly with foreign customers. The exporting activities such as finding foreign buyers, shipping products internationally, handling customs documentation, managing foreign regulations, and collecting payment are handled by Company B. The advantages of indirect exporting include low risk, so Company A doesn't need expertise in international trade, lower cost, so no need to establish foreign sales offices or hire export specialists, easy market entry. This is good for small businesses or firms new to international business. And then less administrative burden. The intermediary handles export paperwork and logistics. The disadvantages, however, of indirect exporting include lower profits. Company B takes a margin for its services. Less control. Company A has little influence over pricing, marketing, or customer relationships overseas. Limited market knowledge. Company A may not learn much about foreign customers since Company B handles the interaction. And then dependence on intermediary. So success in foreign markets depends heavily on Company B's capabilities. So as an example, suppose a California electronics manufacturer produces computer chips. The manufacturer, in this case Company A, sells chips to a U.S. export trading company, Company B. The export trading company ships and sells the chips to a distributor in Germany, or Company C. The manufacturer receives payment from the U.S. export company and never directly interacts with the German customer. So this diagram illustrates direct exporting, where a company sells its products directly to customers or distributors in a foreign country without using a domestic intermediary. So what is happening? Company A is located in country 1, Canada in the diagram. Company A exports its products directly across national borders. Company C in country 2, the United States in the diagram, purchases products directly from Company A. So why is it called direct exporting? The manufacturer deals directly with the foreign customer, distributor, retailer, or end user. Company A is responsible for finding foreign customers, negotiating sales contracts, handles shipping and logistics, takes care of export documentation, and also takes care of customer support and payment collection. The advantages of direct exporting include higher profit margins, so there's no intermediary taking a commission. More control. Company A controls pricing and branding, as well as marketing and customer relationships. Better market knowledge. Direct contact with customers helps the company understand foreign market needs. And then finally, stronger customer relationships. So this builds long-term relationships with overseas distributors and buyers. However, there are disadvantages of direct exporting. This includes higher costs, so it requires export staff, international marketing, and logistics expertise. Greater risk. Company bears risks related to foreign regulations, currency fluctuations, and non-payment. More complexity. Must arrange customs, shipping, legal requirements, and foreign business practices. And then it also requires international expertise, so companies need knowledge of foreign markets and regulations. So, as an example, suppose a Canadian lumber company wants to sell wood products to the United States. The Canadian company markets directly to U.S. wholesalers. It negotiates prices and contracts itself. It arranges transportation and customs clearance. The U.S. wholesaler purchases directly from the Canadian producer. No domestic export company acts as an intermediary. This explains intra-corporate transfers, a common form of exporting used by multinational corporations or MNCs. So what is happening? Company A in country 1 manufactures or develops a product. Instead of selling to an independent foreign customer, it transfers or sells the product to its own affiliated company in country 2. The affiliate in country 2 then distributes, markets, or sells the product in the local market. So why is it called an intra-corporate transfer? Intra means within. The transaction occurs within the same multinational enterprise, even though the entities may be legally separate companies in different countries. As an example, Toyota Japan ships vehicles or parts to Toyota USA. So why do multinational companies use the intra-corporate transfers? Well, number one, efficient distribution. The parent company can manufacture centrally and distribute globally through subsidiaries. Number two, better market coverage. Local subsidiaries understand local customers, language, regulations, and marketing channels. Number three, quality control. The company maintains consistent products, branding, and customer experience worldwide. Number four, supply chain management. Components can move among affiliates before reaching final customers. The advantages are greater control over international operations, consistent branding and product quality, better coordination across countries, easier sharing of technology, inventory, and expertise, allows global optimization of manufacturing and distribution. However, there's a number of disadvantages. Complex management structure, higher operating costs due to maintaining foreign subsidiaries, exposure to multiple countries' regulations, transfer pricing compliance requirements, and potential tax disputes between governments. This highlights the key factors companies must evaluate before exporting products to foreign markets. Exporting is not simply shipping goods overseas. It requires planning in several important areas. Number one, government policies. Governments can either encourage or restrict international trade. Important considerations: tariffs. These increase product costs. Import quotas. These limit how much can be imported. Product regulations and standards. Export controls on sensitive products. Trade agreements that reduce barriers. So as an example, a U.S. software company selling in Europe must comply with European data privacy regulations and VAT requirements. So the question for managers would be, can we legally and profitably sell our product in this country? Number two, marketing concerns. Consumer preferences often differ across countries. Important considerations would be language differences, cultural preferences, buying habits, brand perception, pricing expectations, and advertising effectiveness. As an example, a fast food company may need different menu items in India, Japan, or Mexico to match local tastes. So the question for managers would be, will customers in this country want our product, and how should we market it? Number three, logistical considerations. Logistics involves physically moving products from one country to another. Important considerations: transportation costs, shipping costs, customs clearance, warehousing, packaging requirements, and supply chain reliability. So as an example, a company exporting fresh fruit must ensure refrigerated transportation to maintain quality. The question for managers would be, can we deliver the product efficiently and cost effectively? Number 4, distribution issues. Companies must determine how products reach end customers. Distribution options would include direct sales, local distributors, retailers, agents, and e-commerce platforms. The important considerations would be availability of local distribution networks, retail relationships, customer service capabilities, and inventory management. So as an example, a manufacturer entering Japan may partner with a local distributor that already has relationships with retailers. So the question here for managers would be, what is the best channel to get our product into customers' hands? This explains the various export intermediaries that help companies sell products internationally, especially when they lack experience, resources, or expertise in foreign markets. So what are export intermediaries? Export intermediaries are organizations or individuals that assist manufacturers in exporting products to foreign markets. They help with finding overseas buyers, handling export paperwork, arranging transportation, managing customers' requirements, and collecting payments and marketing products internationally. Many small and medium-sized businesses use intermediaries to reduce risk and complexity. So number 1, Export Management Company, or EMC. An export management company acts as a company's export department. What they do: they help find foreign customers, handle marketing and sales, prepare export documents, and arrange shipping. So as an example, a small U.S. manufacturer wants to sell products in Europe but has no international sales team, and EMC manages the entire export process. The advantages are low cost, international expertise, and quick market entry. However, the disadvantage is that there is less control over foreign sales activities. Number 2, the Web Pomeranian Association. A Web Pomeranian Association is a group of competing U.S. companies that cooperate for export activities. The purpose is to share export costs, increase bargaining power, and compete more effectively abroad. So, as an example, several American agricultural companies jointly market products overseas. The key point is that normally competitors cannot coordinate activities, but the Web Pomeranian Act of 1918 allows cooperation specifically for export businesses. Number 3, International Trading Company, or ITC. An international trading company buys products from manufacturers and resells them in foreign markets. So what do? They purchase products, assume ownership, and handle export and resale. As an example, a trading company buys electronics from manufacturers in one country and sells them throughout Asia. The advantages are the manufacturer receives immediate payment, and there's minimal export involvement. The disadvantages would be lower profit margin and limited knowledge of foreign customers. Number 4, other intermediaries, manufacturers, agents. Independent sales representatives are basically what these would be. So the role would be to help find buyers, negotiate sales, earn commissions. And a good example would be an agent representing several manufacturers in Latin America. Manufacturers, export agents. These are specialized agents focused solely on export markets. The role would be developing foreign sales, identify overseas distributors, and negotiate contracts. The difference here would be more international expertise than ordinary manufacturers' agents. Export and import brokers. Brokers connect buyers and sellers. The role for them would be to arrange transactions, facilitate negotiations, and earn commissions. They usually do not take ownership of products, and they do not maintain inventory. So, as an example, a broker helps connect a coffee producer in Brazil with a buyer in the United States. Freight forwarders. Freight forwarders are logistics specialists. The role for them would be to arrange transportation, prepare shipping documents, coordinate customs clearance, and track shipments. As an example, a freight forwarder arranges ocean shipping from China to the United States. Think of them as the travel agents of international shipping. This focuses on one specific type of export intermediary, the Export Management Company, or EMC. So what is an export management company? An export management company is an independent firm that helps manufacturers sell products in foreign markets. Think of an MNC as an outsourced international sales and export department. Many small and medium-sized businesses hire EMCs because they lack international sales staff, export expertise, foreign market knowledge, export logistics capabilities. Commission agents for exporters. So the slide also states that the EMCs can act as commission agents. So what does this mean? An EMC finds foreign buyers, negotiates sales, arranges export activities, earns a commission based on sales. As an example, a U.S. furniture manufacturer wants to sell products in Europe. The EMC finds European distributors. The EMC negotiates the contracts. The manufacturer ships the furniture. The EMC receives a commission, for example, 5% of sales. In this situation, the EMC does not own the goods. Take title to goods. Some EMCs, though, operate differently. Taking title means the EMC actually purchases the products from the manufacturer and becomes the legal owner. Then the EMC exports the products, sells them abroad, earns profit from the resale. The advantages of using an EMC include immediate access to international expertise, lower startup costs, reduced export risk, faster entry into foreign markets, and no need to hire an export department. The disadvantages, however, include less direct contact with foreign customers, reduced control over marketing and pricing, the commission or markup reduces profits, and the dependence on EMC performance. So this explains the Web Pomeranian Association, which is a special type of export organization that allows competing firms within the same industry to work together when selling products internationally. So the Web Pomeranian Association is a group of companies from the same industry that cooperate to promote exports. It was created under the Web Pomeranian Act of 1918 in the United States. Normally, competitors cannot coordinate business activities because of antitrust laws. However, the Web Pomeranian Act allows cooperation specifically for export activities because the sales occur outside the U.S. market. This includes firms from the same industry. So companies that normally compete domestically can join together for international business. As an example, several U.S. agricultural producers, lumber companies, or technology firms may form an association to market products overseas. The benefit would be greater scale, shared resources, and stronger international presence. They also help to coordinate export activities. The association helps to organize export efforts for member companies. The activities may include identifying foreign markets, finding overseas customers, organizing trade missions, and developing export strategies. So the benefit is that it reduces duplication of effort among member firms. They also perform promotional activities. So the association marks member companies' products internationally. Examples would be trade shows, industry exhibitions, and foreign market research. The benefit is that the members share promotional costs rather than each company spending separately. They help with overseeing freight consolidation. The association may combine shipments from multiple companies into larger shipments. So example, instead of Company A ships one container, Company B ships one container, Company C ships one container, the association may combine them into a larger shipment. So the benefit would be lower transportation costs, better shipping rates, and greater efficiency. They also engage in contract negotiations. So the association may negotiate export contracts on behalf of its members. A great example would be large foreign government contracts, distributor agreements, and bulk purchase contracts. The benefit here is a larger group often has stronger bargaining power than individual firms. And then exporting goods for members. The association can manage the export process for member companies. Responsibilities would be export documentation, shipping arrangements, customs compliance, customer coordination. And so this allows smaller firms to participate in international trade without building their own export departments. So overall, the advantages would be shared export costs, greater international market reach, stronger negotiating power, lower shipping costs, and then the help for smaller firms to compete globally. However, the disadvantages would be less independence, coordination among competitors can be very difficult, members may have conflicting goals, and benefits may not be distributed equally. This explains the role of an international trading company, or ITC, which is a specialized organization that helps companies conduct international business by providing a wide range of services. Unlike an EMC, which often acts as an agent, the ITC frequently buys products from manufacturers and resells them overseas, taking ownership of the goods and assuming much of the export risk. So what does an international trading company do? An ITC provides a complete package of international trade services. Number one, market research. Before entering a foreign market, companies need information about customer demand, competitors, local regulations, market trends, and pricing expectations. As an example, an ITC may research whether there is demand for U.S. software products in Southeast Asia. The benefit is that this helps companies avoid entering unprofitable markets. Number two, customs documentation. So international trade requires extensive paperwork. Examples would be commercial invoices, bills of lading, certificates of origin, customs declarations, and import and export permits. The benefit is that the ITC ensures shipments comply with customs regulations and avoid delays. Number three, international transportation. The ITC arranges the movement of goods across borders. Responsibilities include ocean freight, air freight, trucking, insurance, and shipment tracking. The benefit here is that manufacturers don't need their own logistics expertise. Number four, host country distribution. Once products arrive in the foreign country, they still need to reach customers. The ITC may maintain warehouses, manage inventory, coordinate distributors, deliver products to retailers. The benefit is that this provides local market access and distribution networks. Number five, marketing. The ITC helps promote products internationally. Activities include advertising, trade shows, distributor recruitment, sales promotion, brand development. So as an example, an ITC may help an American food producer market products in Japan. Number six, financing. International transactions often require financing. The ITC may provide trade credit, arrange letters of credit, finance inventory, help manage currency risk. The benefit is that this reduces financial risk for exporters. Japan's Sogo Sosha. This is among the world's most famous international trading companies. So, what are the Shosa? Large Japanese trading conglomerates that handle a wide variety of products and services worldwide. Examples include Mitsubishi Corporation, Sumitomo Corporation, and Itochu Corporation. These companies trade products globally, arrange financing, invest in businesses, manage logistics networks, and conduct market research. They often serve as a bridge between manufacturers and global markets. This introduces four additional types of export intermediaries that help companies participate in international trade. These intermediaries usually specialize in one part of the export process rather than handling everything like an EMC or international trading company. Number one, a manufacturer's agent. This is an independent sales representative who sells products on behalf of one or more manufacturers. What do? They help find customers, promote products, negotiate sales, earn commissions. What they don't do, they usually do not own inventory. They also do not take title to goods. So, as an example, a sales agent in South America represents several U.S. industrial equipment manufacturers. The benefit would be low-cost international sales presence. Number two, a manufacturer's export agent, or MEA. These specialize in export markets. Think of them as an outsourced international sales department. What they do, they help to identify foreign customers, negotiate export contracts, handle export sales activities, and they sometimes manage export documentation. So, as an example, a small software company hires an export agent to develop customers in Asia and Europe. The difference from the manufacturer's agent, they're more focused on international markets and they have greater export expertise. Number three, export and import brokers. These act as a matchmaker between buyers and sellers. So what do? They identify trading opportunities, bring buyers and sellers together, facilitate negotiations, and earn a commission. What they don't do, they usually don't own the products and they usually don't handle shipping. So, as an example, a coffee broker connects a Brazilian coffee exporter with a U.S. coffee importer. The benefit would be quickly connecting trading partners. Number four, a freight forwarder. These are logistics experts specializing in international shipping. So what do? They arrange transportation, prepare shipping documents, coordinate customs clearance, book cargo space, track shipments, and arrange insurance. As an example, a U.S. manufacturer exports machinery to Germany and hires a freight forwarder to handle ocean transportation and customs paperwork. So think of them as the travel agents of international trade. This explains international licensing, a market entry strategy where a company allows a foreign company to use its intellectual property, or IP, in exchange for royalty payments. So what is international licensing? Licensing is an agreement between two parties. The licensor is the company that owns valuable intellectual property, such as patents, trademarks, technology, software, copyrights, and manufacturing processes. The licensee would be the foreign company that receives permission to use that intellectual property. The licensing process. So, step one, licensor grants rights. The licensor allows the foreign company to use its intellectual property. Examples would be technology, brand names, and software. The licensor would be the one that leases the rights to use its intellectual property. The licensor keeps ownership of the IP but grants usage rights. Step 2. The licensee uses the IP. The foreign company uses the intellectual property to produce or sell products in its local market. The licensee uses the intellectual property to create products for local sale. Examples would be producing products locally, selling software locally, and using a brand name in a foreign country. Step 3. Royalty payments. The licensee pays the licensor a royalty. The slide states pays a royalty back to the licensor. So the royalties are usually based on a percentage of sales, revenue generated, and units sold. The benefits to the licensor include the possibility to earn new revenues with relatively low investment. The advantages include low investment, fast market entry, limited political and economic risk, no need to build foreign factories, and generates reoccurring royalty income. The benefits to the licensee would be these advantages: access to proven technology, use of established brands, reducing developmental costs, and faster entry into the market. There are basic issues in a licensing agreement. The slide lists 4 important issues. Number 1, it should set the boundaries of the agreement. So it should define the geographic territory, products covered, markets covered. An example would be the license is valid only in Japan. Number 2, it should establish compensation. So this should determine the royalty percentage, fixed fees, minimum payments. As an example, 5% royalty on sales revenue. Number 3, it should agree on rights, privileges, and constraints. So this should define what the licensee can do, what they cannot do. So example would be high quality standards, sub-licensing restrictions, and technology sharing limitations. And number 4, it should specify the duration. So this should help determine the start date, expiration date, renewal options. For example, a 10-year licensing agreement. So the disadvantages of licensing include less control over how products are produced or marketed, the risk of creating future competitors, potential loss of intellectual property, and limited profit potential compared to direct ownership. This summarizes the 4 most important issues that companies must negotiate when creating an international licensing agreement. Think of these as the key questions that both the licensor, the owner of the IP, and the licensee, the user of the IP, must answer before signing a contract. Number 1, boundaries of the agreement. This defines where, how, and for what purposes the intellectual property can be used. Questions to answer. Which countries are covered? Which products are covered? Is the license exclusive or non-exclusive? Can the licensee sub-license the technology? As an example, a software company licenses its technology only for Japan, only for business customers, only for remote access software. The licensee cannot sell the product in China or modify it for unrelated uses. Why does this matter? Without clear boundaries, disputes can arise over who has rights to sell, manufacture, or market the product. Number 2, methods of compensation. This determines how the licensor gets paid. Common compensation methods include royalty payments, which are the most common method. So as an example, 5% of sales revenue and $2 per unit sold. Lump sum payment. This is a one-time licensing fee. So for example, $500,000 in upfront payment. A minimum royalty guarantee. This is when the licensee guarantees minimum annual payments. As an example, at least $100,000 per year regardless of sales. Or there could be a combination. So many agreements can include an upfront fee and ongoing royalties. Why does this matter? The licensor wants fair compensation while the licensee wants affordable access to the technology. Number 3, rights, privileges, and constraints. This section defines what the licensee can and cannot do. So for the rights, the licensee may be allowed to manufacture products, use trademarks, market products, access technology. The constraints are the licensee may be prohibited from modifying technology, sharing IP with competitors, selling outside approved territories. As an example, a pharmaceutical company licenses a drug formula. The licensee can manufacture the drug, but cannot transfer the formula to another company. So why does this matter? Protects the licensor's intellectual property and brand reputation. And then number 4, the duration of the agreement. This specifies how long the license remains in effect. The questions to answer would be, when does the agreement begin and when does it expire? Can it be renewed? Under what conditions can it be terminated? So as an example, a 10-year license agreement is renewable for another 5 years if performance targets are met. And why does this matter? Both parties need certainty of regarding where the future business plans and investments will go. And why are these 4 issues critical? Poorly written licensing agreements can lead to IP theft, lost royalties, trademark misuse, territorial disputes, and litigation. A well-structured agreement clearly defines where the license applies, how payments work, what rights are granted, and how long the agreement lasts. So this summarizes the major advantages and disadvantages of international licensing as a strategy for entering foreign markets. So here are the advantages of international licensing. Number 1, low financial risk. One of the biggest benefits of licensing is that the company can enter foreign markets without making large investments. Why? The licensee typically pays for manufacturing, facilities, employees, distribution, and marketing. The licensor simply provides the intellectual property. The positives of this are low investment and lower political and economic risk. Number 2, market assessment. Licensing can be used as a way to test a foreign market. So the benefits are the licensor can learn market demand, customer preferences, competitive conditions, regulatory challenges before making larger investments. As an example, a U.S. company may license its technology in India first, and if sales are strong, it may later establish its own subsidiary. This provides valuable market intelligence. Number 3, sales opportunities. Licensing can generate sales in countries that would otherwise be difficult to enter. So the reasons would be import restrictions, high tariffs, local content requirements, political barriers. Because products are manufactured locally by the license, these barriers can often be avoided. So as an example, a pharmaceutical company licenses production rights to a local company instead of exporting drugs into the country. So this expands international revenue opportunities. However, there are disadvantages of international licenses. So number 1, limited market opportunities. The licensor gives up some control over the market. Here are the problems. The licensee may market poorly, invest insufficiently, fail to maximize sales. So as a result, the licensor's growth may be limited. As an example, a strong technology company may achieve much higher profits by operating directly rather than relying on a licensee. The drawback is that this leads to less control over market expansion. Number 2, potential litigation. So licensing agreements can lead to legal disputes. Common issues are royalty disagreements, contract violations, territory disputes, trademark misuse, quality problems. As an example, a licensee underreports sales to reduce royalty payments. This may lead to lawsuits or arbitration, and the legal costs can be significant. Number 3, competitive issues. This is often considered the largest long-term risk. What happens? The licensee gains access to technology, manufacturing know-how, business processes, market knowledge, and eventually the licensee may become a competitor. So here's a common example in the technology industry. A software company licenses its technology overseas. Over time, the licensee develops similar technology and becomes a direct competitor. So this leads to the risk of losing intellectual property advantages and the risk of creating future competitors. This explains international franchising, which is similar to licensing but involves a much more complete business system. So what is international franchising? International franchising occurs when a company, the franchisor, allows a foreign business, the franchisee, to operate using the company's brand name, trademarks, business processes, products, operating systems, training and support. And in return, the franchisee pays fees and royalties. So in this diagram, the top arrow shows what the franchisor provides: trademarks, process, product reputations, and services. So this means the franchisor transfers, number 1, trademarks, the right to use the brand name and logo. So for example, McDonald's Golden Arches, Hilton Hotels brand, and the Subway logo. Number 2, business processes. The franchisor provides proving operating procedures. So this would be restaurant recipes, employee training, customer service standards, and inventory systems. Number 3, product reputation. The franchisee benefits from an already established brand reputation. So as an example, customers trust McDonald's because they know what to expect regardless of the country. Number 4, services and support. The franchisor often provides training, marketing support, technology systems, management assistance, and quality control. The bottom arrow shows the payment flowing back. The franchisee pays the initial franchise fee, so a one-time payment for the right to open a business. As an example, a $50,000 franchise fee. Ongoing royalties. This is usually a percentage of revenue. So as an example, 5% to 8% of sales. Advertising contributions. Payments towards national or international marketing programs. Here are examples of international franchising. Restaurants: McDonald's, Subway, KFC. Hotels: this would be Hilton Hotels and Resorts and Marriott Hotels. Retail: the UPS store. So the advantages of international franchising: for the franchisor, low investment, rapid global expansion, ongoing royalty income, local franchisees understand local markets, and lower operational risk. For the franchisee, an established brand, proven business model, training and support, and lower failure rate than starting from scratch. However, for the disadvantages, there are quite a few for the franchisor. This would include less direct control than owning subsidiaries, quality problems that can damage the brand, and it's difficult to monitor foreign franchisees. For the franchisee, the disadvantages would be the franchise fees and royalties. They must follow the franchisor rules, and there's limited business independence. So this highlights the key factors a company must evaluate before expanding internationally through franchising. Not every successful domestic franchise will automatically succeed overseas. Companies must determine whether their franchise concept can be effectively transferred to another country. So number one, franchise unique products and advantageous operating procedures. A successful franchise usually has something distinctive that competitors cannot easily copy. Examples would be unique products, strong brand recognition, or proprietary recipes. So, as an example, McDonald's has a recognizable brand, standardized menu, efficient kitchen operations, proven training systems. These advantages make franchising attractive to foreign investors. Number two, transferability to foreign locations. The business model must be adaptable to different countries and cultures. Considerations would be local consumer preferences, language differences, religious restrictions, government regulations, and supply chain availability. So, for example, McDonald's adjusts its menu internationally. In India, there's no beef burgers. For Japan, there's teriyaki burgers. In the Middle East, there's halal products. A franchise that works only in its home country may struggle internationally. Number three, franchise domestic success. So before expanding internationally, the franchise should demonstrate strong performance at home. Why? Foreign investors want evidence that the concept works, the brand is profitable, the operating procedures are proven, the company can provide support. So, for example, before expanding globally, companies such as Subway, KFC, Marriott Hotels first established strong domestic track records. Number four, foreign investors. International franchising requires capable local partners. These investors or franchisees provide the capital, local market knowledge, management, employees, day-to-day operations. As an example, a U.S. restaurant chain entering China may partner with a local investor who understands Chinese consumers, knows local regulations, can manage local operations. So why is this important? Even a strong franchise can fail if the local franchisee is weak. As an example, Starbucks expanding internationally. The unique product and operations of Starbucks would be the strong coffee brand, the consistent store experience. Transferability, coffee culture exists worldwide. The menu can be localized. Domestic success, there's thousands of successful U.S. stores. Foreign investors, partners with local operators in many countries. Because all four conditions were largely met, Starbucks was able to expand successfully worldwide. So this summarizes the major advantages and disadvantages of international franchising as a method of expanding into foreign markets. Advantages of international franchising. Number one, product and system. A franchise doesn't just sell a product, it provides an entire proven business system. So this includes the brand name, trademarks, operating procedures, training programs, marketing methods, customer service standards. As an example, McDonald's provides franchisees with standardized recipes, store layouts, employee training, marketing campaigns. The benefit is that franchisees can replicate a successful business model more easily. Number two, low-cost expansion. One of the biggest advantages for the franchisor is that expansion is funded largely by the franchisee. The franchisee pays for building the location, equipment, employees, day-to-day operations. The franchisor provides the brand, business model, training, support. As an example, instead of investing millions to open stores worldwide, a company allows local entrepreneurs to invest their own capital. So the benefit is rapid international growth with minimal capital investment. Number three, learning opportunities. Local franchisees understand their markets better than foreign headquarters. Franchisees provide knowledge about customer preferences, local culture, regulations, competitors, and consumer trends. As an example, a U.S. restaurant chain entering Japan may learn that local customers prefer smaller portions and different flavors. The benefit is valuable local market insights. However, there are disadvantages of international franchising. Number one is shared revenues. The franchisor does not keep all the profits. Instead, franchisees earn operating profits. Franchisors receive franchise fees and royalties. As an example, if a franchise location earns $1 million in profit, much of that profit belongs to franchisee. The drawback is lower profit potential than owning the foreign operation outright. Number two, increased complexity. So managing franchise operations across multiple countries can be difficult. The challenges are different laws, different cultures, currency issues, tax regulations, communication barriers. An example would be a local franchise that may need different contracts, training programs, and compliance systems for each country. So the drawback here is international management becomes more complicated. Number three, quality control. Maintaining consistent quality across thousands of foreign locations is challenging. The risks include poor customer service, inconsistent products, failure to follow standards, damage to brand reputation. As an example, if a franchisee operates below company standards, customers may blame the entire brand. A well-known challenge would be a bad experience at one franchise location can negatively affect perceptions of the entire franchise system. So the major drawback here is that it's difficult to monitor and enforce standards worldwide. So here's an example of McDonald's international expansion. The advantages are a proven product and operating system. Franchisees finance most new locations, and local franchisees understand local and customer preferences. But the disadvantages would be the franchise profits are shared, managing thousands of locations worldwide is complex, and maintaining consistent food quality and service standards requires constant monitoring. This introduces specialized entry modes, which are alternative ways for companies to enter foreign markets beyond exporting, licensing, and franchising. These methods are often used when a company wants to provide expertise, technology, management skills, or production capabilities rather than simply selling products. Number one, contract manufacturing. What is it? A company hires a foreign manufacturer to produce its products. How it works. Company A designs the product. A local company in another country manufactures it. Company A markets and sells the product under its own brand. So as an example, Apple Incorporated designs iPhones, but contracts manufacturers such as Foxconn to produce them. The advantages would be lower production costs, avoids building factories abroad, and quick market entry. However, the disadvantages are less control over production quality and the risk of intellectual property leakage. Number two, management contracts. What is it? A company provides management expertise to another company in exchange for a fee. The company manages the operation but does not necessarily own it. So as an example, many international hotel chains use management contracts. Marriott Hotels, Hilton Hotels and Resorts. So in this case, a local investor owns the hotel building while Marriott or Hilton manages the operations, staffing, marketing, and service standards. The advantages of this arrangement would be it generates income with little capital investment, as well as providing low financial risk. But the disadvantages would be limited control over assets and dependence on local owners. Number three, turnkey projects. What is this? A company designs, builds, and equips a facility, then hands it over to the customer when it is fully operational. The customer can literally turn the key and begin operations immediately. As an example, an engineering company builds power plants, oil refineries, airports, and telecommunication networks for a foreign government. It sets the process, design facility, build facility, as well as install equipment and train personnel. The advantages are a large revenue opportunity and using technical expertise. But the disadvantage would be high project risk and limited long-term involvement. Bot projects. The slide also lists BOT, B-O-T, as a special type of turnkey project. So what is BOT? It stands for Build, Operate, and Transfer. A company would build, like constructing a facility, operate, runs the facility for a period of time to recover its investments and earn profits, and transfer, which means eventually transferring ownership to the government or local owner. So as an example, a company builds a toll highway, operates it for 20 years, collects toll revenue, transfer ownership to the government at the end of the contract. Common use of this would be airports, bridges, highways, water treatment plants, and power plants. So this introduces the foreign direct investment, or FDI, one of the most significant ways companies enter international markets. What is foreign direct investment? FDI occurs when a company invests directly in business operations in another country. Unlike exporting, licensing, franchising, with FDI, the company actually owns or controls assets in the foreign country. So examples would be building a factory, purchasing a company, creating a subsidiary, and forming a joint venture. Why use FDI? Companies choose FDI when they want greater control, closer access to customers, lower transportation costs, better protection of technology and intellectual property, and long-term commitment to the foreign market. These are the three major forms of FDI. Number one, greenfield strategy. What is it? This is a company that builds a completely new operation from scratch in a foreign country. The term greenfield means starting with an empty piece of land. As an example, Mazda and Toyota building a new automobile plant in Alabama. The company purchases land, constructs facilities, hires employees, and creates operations from the ground up. Advantages would be full control, modern facilities, and the company culture established from the beginning. However, the disadvantages are it's expensive, time-consuming, and very high risk. Number two, acquisition or brownfield strategy. What is it? The company purchases an existing foreign business. Instead of building a new facility, it acquires one that already exists. As an example, Facebook acquiring Instagram. Why is it called brownfield? The facilities and operations already exist. So the advantages are faster market entry, existing customers, existing employees, and existing distribution networks. However, the disadvantages are integration challenges, culture clashes, and hidden liabilities. Number three, joint ventures. What is it? This is two or more companies that create a jointly owned business. Ownership and control are shared. As an example, a U.S. company and a Chinese company form a business together. Both contribute capital, technology, management expertise, and market knowledge. The advantages are shared risk, local market expertise, and easier access to restricted markets. But the disadvantages are shared profits, potential conflicts between partners, and less control. So this summarizes the benefits and challenges of foreign direct investment. Remember, FDI means a company directly owns or controls operations in another country through a subsidiary, acquisition, factory, or joint venture. So the benefits of FDI. Number one, increased control. FDI gives a company much more control than exporting, licensing, or franchising. It controls over production, marketing, pricing, quality standards, customer service, and technology. The benefit is stronger control over business operations and brand reputation. Number two, profit potential. Because the company owns the foreign operation, it keeps most or all of the profits. So compare this with licensing, which receives only royalty income. Franchising, which receives franchise fees and royalties. FDI retains operating profits from the entire business. So as an example, a foreign subsidiary generating $10 million in profit belongs largely to the parent company. The benefit is higher long-term profit potential. Number three, local factories. Building facilities inside a foreign country can create major advantages. The benefits would be lower transportation costs, faster delivery, better customer service, avoiding import tariffs, and meeting local content requirements. So as an example, Toyota Motor Corporation builds vehicles in the United States instead of shipping every vehicle from Japan. The benefit is better access to local markets and customers. What are the challenges to FDI? So for number one, that would be economic risk. Foreign economies can change unexpectedly. The risks are recession, inflation, currency fluctuations, and rising labor costs. As an example, a company builds a factory in a country that later experiences severe inflation and declining consumer demand. So the challenge here is large investments can lose value. Number two, political risks. Governments can affect foreign businesses. The risks are changes in tax laws, nationalization, trade restrictions, regulatory changes, political instability. So, as an example, a government may suddenly impose restrictions on foreign-owned businesses. The challenge is that this is difficult to predict political changes. Number three, operating complexity. Managing a foreign operation is much harder than exporting. The challenges would include different languages, different cultures, different labor laws, different accounting systems, time zone differences. As an example, managing employees across the US, Germany, Japan, and Brazil requires significant coordination. So the challenge is greater management burden. Number four, government policies. So host country governments may impose rules affecting foreign investors. Examples include local ownership requirements, environmental regulations, labor laws, tax regulations, and technology transfer requirements. As an example, some countries require foreign firms to partner with local businesses before investing. So the challenge is additional compliance costs and restrictions. So here's a real world example, Toyota Alabama plant. So you recently studied about the Mazda Toyota Alabama plant. Here are the benefits that Toyota receives. Greater control over production, avoids import tariffs, produces closer to U.S. customers, and keeps profits from the U.S. operations. However, the challenges that Toyota faces are large investment costs, U.S. labor regulations, economic downturn risk, and complex supply chain management. So this explains the advantages of a greenfield strategy, which is a type of foreign direct investment, where a company builds a brand new operation in a foreign country from scratch. Think of it as starting with an empty piece of land, such as a greenfield, and building everything yourself. So what is greenfield strategy? So instead of buying an existing company or partnering with another company, this case, the company buys land, builds facilities, hires employees, and creates operations from the ground up. The advantages of a greenfield strategy would be number one, selecting the most useful site. The company can choose the best possible location. So the factors considered would be access to customers, transportation infrastructure, labor availability, supplier networks, utility costs, and tax incentives. As an example, when Mazda and Toyota built their Alabama plant, they evaluated highway access, rail connections, skilled labor availability, proximity to suppliers. So the advantage would be optimal location for long-term success. Number two, construct modern facilities. Since the company builds everything new, it can use the latest technology and facility design. The benefits would be more efficient operations, better production processes, energy efficient buildings, and modern equipment. As an example, a semiconductor company can build a factory specifically designed for the newest manufacturing technology instead of modifying an old plant. So the advantage will be highest operational efficiency. Number three, reap economic development incentives. So governments often compete to attract foreign investment. They may offer tax credits, property tax abatements, infrastructure support, training grants, and cash incentives. So for example, many U.S. states offered incentives to attract foreign automakers such as Toyota, Hyundai, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz. The advantage is it reduces investment costs. Number four, starting with a clean slate. The company avoids problems that often come from acquisitions. There's no need to deal with outdated equipment, legacy systems, poor management practices, existing labor disputes, and hidden liabilities. So as an example, instead of buying an old factory and fixing problems, the company creates its own operation exactly as desired. So the advantage is no inherited problems. And number five, get acclimated to new business culture. So building a new operation allows the company to gradually learn the local environment. They get to learn about the local customers, employee expectations, labor laws, business practices, and government regulations. As an example, a U.S. company entering Japan can slowly build local management expertise and adapt to Japanese business customs. So the advantage is better long-term integration into the local market. This explains the disadvantages of a greenfield strategy. While greenfield investments provide maximum control, they also involve significant costs, time, and risk. So number one, implementation takes time and patience. Building a new operation is a long process. The activities required are site selection, land purchase, permits and approvals, construction, equipment installation, hiring employees, and training workers. So as an example, a new automobile plant may take 2 to 5 years before producing its first vehicle. So the disadvantage here is slow market entry compared to acquiring an existing company. Number two, location may be costly or unavailable. The ideal location may not always be available. Challenges include high land prices, limited industrial sites, competition for prime locations, and infrastructure limitations. As an example, a technology company may want to build near a major city but discover that land costs are prohibitively expensive. So a disadvantage is higher startup costs. Number three, it must deal with government regulations. So building a new operation requires compliance with many local laws. Examples are environmental permits, building permits, labor regulations, tax registration, and zoning requirements. As an example, a manufacturer building a factory in Europe may need numerous environmental approvals before construction can begin. So the disadvantage would be delays and compliance costs. Number 4, must recruit and train a local workforce. So, unlike an acquisition, there are no existing employees. The company must recruit workers, hire managers, train employees, establish company culture. So, as an example, when Toyota opened a new plant, it must train thousands of workers in Toyota's production methods and quality standards. So, the disadvantage is significant time and training investment. And then 5, may be stigmatized as a foreign firm. So, in some countries, consumers, employees, or governments may view foreign companies less favorably than local businesses. So the possible challenges are nationalistic attitudes, preference for domestic companies, political opposition, and community resistance. A good example here is a foreign retailer entering a country that may face criticism for competing with local businesses. So the disadvantage is it's harder to build trust and local acceptance. So this compares the advantages and disadvantages of the acquisition strategy, or brownfield FDI, where a company enters a foreign market by purchasing an existing company rather than building a new one. What is an acquisition strategy? So instead of building a new facility from scratch, as in greenfield, the company buys an existing business, acquires its assets, takes control of its operations, gains immediate market presence. The advantages of acquisition strategy. Number 1, control over the firm's resources. So when you acquire a company, you gain access to its existing resources. The resources include employees, facilities, technology, customer relationships, distribution networks, and supplier relationships. And as an example, a foreign company acquiring a local manufacturer instantly gains factories, workers, and customers. So the advantage is immediate control over valuable assets. Number 2, generates immediate revenues. So unlike a greenfield investment that may take years to become operational, an acquired company is already doing business. This benefits existing customers, existing sales, and existing cash flow. As an example, a software company with $20 million in annual revenue continues generating revenue after the acquisition. So the advantage is immediate income and market presence. Number 3, adds no new capacity to the industry. So the slide notes that the acquisitions do not create additional industry capacity. Why is this an advantage? So if an industry already has enough factories or businesses, building a new facility may create excess capacity. Acquiring an existing firm simply transfers ownership. So as an example, if there are already enough automobile factories in a country, buying one may be more efficient than building another. So advantage here is it avoids oversupply and duplication of resources. However, there are disadvantages of acquisition strategy. Number 1 would be assumes the firm's liabilities. So when you buy a company, you'll often inherit its obligations. Examples would be debt, tax liabilities, environmental obligations, lawsuits, and employee benefit commitments. So a company may discover that after the acquisition that the target owes millions of unpaid taxes. So the disadvantage here is hidden financial risks. Number 2, inherits unresolved problems. The acquired company may have existing issues. So possible problems are poor management, labor disputes, outdated technology, weak company culture, and customer dissatisfaction. So an acquired company may have declining sales due to poor customer service. So the key disadvantage here is that management must spend time fixing inherited problems. Number 3, requires substantial upfront spending. So acquisitions often require large amounts of cash. The costs include purchase price, legal fees, due diligence costs, integration expenses. So here, a company may spend hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars acquiring a foreign competitor. And so the key disadvantage is that large, immediate financial commitment is needed. This introduces joint ventures, JVs, a form of foreign direct investment, where two or more companies create and jointly own a new business entity. So what is a joint venture? A joint venture is a separate company that is jointly owned by two or more firms. So instead of building a wholly owned subsidiary, as in Greenfield, or buying a company as an acquisition, the companies work together and share ownership, investment, risk, profits, and management responsibilities. The jointly owned separate firm. The first bullet emphasizes that the JV becomes a new legal entity. So as an example, suppose Company A in the United States and Company B, Japan, create AB Technologies Limited. AB Technologies becomes its own company with its own employees, its own assets, and its own operations. So the ownership might be 50% and 50%, or 60% and 40%. Any agreed upon percentage. So the key point is that a JV is not simply a contract, it is usually a new company jointly owned by the partners. It also helps promote mutual interest. The second bullet highlights why companies create joint ventures. Each partner contributes something valuable. So a foreign partner may contribute to technology, brand name, and management expertise, as well as capital. The local partner may contribute local market knowledge, distribution channels, government relationships, understanding of local regulations, and the workforce. So the result is that both partners benefit from the arrangement. Why do companies use joint ventures? Number one is because of shared risk. Entering a foreign market can be very expensive and uncertain. A JV allows partners to split investment costs, operating costs, and business risks. So overall, this is less risk than investing alone. Number two, gain local knowledge. The local partner understands the culture, customers, regulations, and business practice. This allows for faster adaptation to local markets. Number three, access to restricted markets. Some countries limit foreign ownership. So an example would be certain industries may require local ownership, domestic participation. So a JV allows foreign firms to operate legally and allows for easier market entry. So the advantages of joint ventures are shared investment costs, shared risk, local expertise, faster market acceptance, and access to restricted markets. However, the disadvantages of joint ventures are shared profits, shared control, potential disagreements, different management styles, and conflicts over strategy. Okay, so we made it to the review questions for this chapter. Number one, what are the steps in conducting a foreign market analysis? Before entering a foreign country, a company evaluates whether the market is attractive. Typical steps include step one, assess market potential. This would be the population, income levels, economic growth, and customer demand. Step two, analyze competition. So local competitors, foreign competitors, and market share. Step three, evaluate political and legal environment. This would be trade barriers, regulations, and political stability. Step four, analyze cultural factors. This would be consumer preferences, language, business customs. Step five, estimate costs and risks. So this would be the transportation, labor, and taxes. The goal is to determine whether the market offers profitable opportunities. Number two, what are some of the basic issues a firm must confront when choosing an entry mode? When selecting an international entry strategy, firms consider cost, how much investment is required, risk, how much financial and political risk exists, Control, how much control does the firm want? Speed, how quickly must the company enter the market? And resources, does the company have sufficient capital and expertise? Number 3, what is exporting and why has it increased dramatically in recent years? So exporting is selling products or services produced in one country to customers in another country. The reasons for growth is globalization, more international business activity, better transportation, faster and cheaper shipping, technology, internet and e-commerce, trade agreements, reduced tariffs and trade barriers, improved communication, so easier coordination and foreign customers. Number 4, what are the primary advantages and disadvantages of exporting? Well, the advantages are low investment, low risk, easy market entry, and maintains production in home country. The disadvantages, though, are transportation costs, tariffs and trade barriers, limited control over foreign marketing, and dependence on distributors or intermediaries. Number 5, what are the 3 forms of exporting? So based on the slides we reviewed, A, indirect exporting, the company sells to a domestic intermediary. The flow is from manufacturer to export intermediary and then foreign customer. Advantages would be lowest risk and simplest approach. B, direct exporting. Company sells directly to foreign customers. The flow would be from the manufacturer to foreign customer. Advantages would be more control and higher profit potential. C, intra-corporate transfers. Company exports products to its own foreign affiliate or subsidiary. So the flows from the parent company to foreign subsidiary. Advantages would be maximum control and supports multinational operations. This is the second set of review questions. So number 1, what is the export intermediary? What is its role? What are the various types? An export intermediary is a company or agent that helps firms sell products internationally. Its role is to find foreign buyers, handle shipping and logistics, prepare export documents, manage customs procedures, and reduce exporting complexity. These are the types of export intermediaries. So, export management company. This acts as an export department for a company. It may work on commission or purchase products for resale. The Web Pomeranian Association. This is an association of firms in the same industry that cooperate in exporting. International Trading Company. Provides market research, financing, transportation, and distribution services. Other intermediaries include manufacturers' agents, export agents, import and export brokers, and freight forwarders. The main benefit is to make exporting easier and less risky. Number 2, what is international licensing? What are its advantages and disadvantages? So international licensing occurs when a company, a licensor, grants another company, licensee, the right to use patents, trademarks, technology, copyrights, and manufacturing processes in exchange for royalty payments. The advantages would be low financial risk, generates royalty income, easy market entry, and useful in markets with investment restrictions. The disadvantages are less control over operations, potential legal disputes, risk of creating future competitors, and limited profit potential compared with FDI. Number 3, what is international franchising? What are its advantages and disadvantages? So franchising is a specialized form of licensing. The franchisor provides a brand name, business model, operating procedures, and training. The franchisee pays fees and royalties. So advantages are low cost expansion, faster international growth, local investment by franchisees, and learning opportunities from foreign markets. The disadvantages are shared revenues, more complex management, quality control challenges, and potential brand reputation issues. Number 4, what are 3 specialized entry modes for international business? A, contract manufacturing. A company hires a foreign manufacturer to produce goods. The benefit here is lower production costs. B, management contracts. One company provides management expertise to another. So an example would be a hotel chain managing a foreign-owned hotel. The benefit would be generating income without large investments. And C, turnkey projects. A company that designs, builds, and equips a facility, then transfers it to a customer when completed. Example would be building a power plant for a foreign government. Bot project. The build, operate, and transfer. So the builder builds the facility and operates it for several years. This transfers ownership to the host country. And number 5, what is FDI? What are its 3 basic forms? So the foreign direct investment occurs when a company directly owns or controls operations in another country. There are 3 forms of FDI. So 1, greenfield strategy, which is building a new operation from scratch. The advantages would be full control, modern facilities, and government incentives. However, the disadvantages would be it's too expensive, time-consuming, and has regulatory challenges. Number 2, acquisition or brownfield. This is purchasing an existing company. So advantages would be immediate revenues, existing customers and facilities, and fast market entry. However, the disadvantages would be it inherits liabilities, integration challenges, and large upfront investment. Number 3, joint venture. This is to create a jointly owned company with a local partner. So advantages would be shared risk, local expertise, and easier market access, while the disadvantages include shared control, shared profits, and potential partner conflicts. And so now we finally come to the end of this lecture. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have all found this useful. Please be sure to reach out to me if you have any questions. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.